Hello, we're live. Finally, we are a few minutes late, but yeah, tech issues. I'm your host, Sam Basu, and with me I have my very good friend Jimmy here. So before we get started, so Jimmy, this week feels like a long, long week, and I've had like two webinars, like 6 or 7 streams, and essentially the culprit was like these little AirPods. They're like, we're done with you. We have heard you enough. We don't want to work today, so that's why we are late. But yeah, thanks and sorry to keep you waiting. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Welcome to Code It Live. This is Friday. It is Friday, right? Yeah.
It is Friday. It's definitely Friday.
Better be Friday today. But yeah, I'm your host, Sam Basu, and our one rule on Friday, at least in the morning, is not to share our screen, just to explicitly take some time to chat with folks we love, to hang out with, and folks who are passionate. So I'm your host, Sam. And like I said, I have Jimmy on here with me from beautiful Sweden. Hey, hey.
Well, from Sweden at least.
Yeah. I didn't say Belgium, at least this time around. Hey, Jess. All right. So welcome to the chat show, folks. And Jimmy, I'm super glad to have you. You're kind of a geek at heart on so many levels, but I want to dig into a few more things that you have been up to. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jimmy. You already knew that. I'm a developer. I'm a streamer. I'm a speaker. And soon I can even add author to that list. I'm actually done with my book. Finally.
Nice. Well done. Well done. I think I saw Jessica's tweet about going through your book. It's just like, is this your first book?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the real test is, will you sign up to repeat your mistake the second time? Because it's a lot of work, right? As you know.
It's a lot of way more than I thought. And I mean, the book is web development with Blazor and .NET 5. .NET 6 is around the corner. Mm-hmm. So it feels like it's going to be a natural update at some point next year, maybe. But, well, at this exact point, I'm going to say no. But ask me again in a few minutes.
You might be smitten again next year. But at least like with the timing of things, and I mean, while we're talking, feel free to post a link if you have anything that's for preview maybe for the book. But at least like right now, you have a good runway leading up to .NET 6. And like you said, like Blazor and .NET 5 are very current. The thing that I did like several years back, like on the day it launched, it was like, it's obsolete. And that's how tech moves, right? It's just too fast at times for our own good. Yeah. Cool. So, Jimmy, where are you exactly physically in the world?
So right now I'm in Stockholm, in Sweden, and we're in our studio. At least we call it that. So when COVID struck, we designed our they call it the old room or something like that. I don't know what is a good translation in English, but it's basically a room with 3 walls. So the fourth wall is just the stairs down to the lower part of the house.
Yeah.
So we just redesigned it. We painted the wall green and put up lights and everything.
Oh, no, that's good for you. Yeah, I've seen a lot of folks do the whole green painting, and because it takes care of all the other issues of putting things up and green screens and banners and cloth or whatever it is that you do. So painting it is definitely the more permanent way to go. But you're not using the family room for anything else at that point. It is really a studio.
Yeah. So the original version of this room, the reason why we actually bought the house was that this was called a VR room, the room that we did all the VR, all the HoloLens stuff in. So it had to rename itself now with COVID. So now it's the studio.
And I know you and Jessica keep complaining about weather sometimes, but like you're in beautiful Stockholm. How are things now?
Right now it's actually, well, I think it's still raining and I heard a little bit of thunder, but But besides that, it's kind of warm.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining. Jessica is because it's too hot inside, you know.
Yeah. All right, so I want to dig into a lot of the tech stuff that you're into, and you are a proud owner of an EV now, a brand new EV, if I'm saying that right. This was last week
Yep.
that you picked it up. All right, I want to get into
Friday,
that.
Friday last week. Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. But tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like we see all that you do with Blazor and the tech community, but what exactly do you do? This may be an existential question. What do you do in life?
What do I do? Well, I'm a senior developer by on the card, if you will. I'm working with our internal CRM system as well as our customer portal, and it's all written in Blazor server.
Nice.
So basically, I'm a web developer. I make the web do stuff.
The web do stuff. Lumjacker, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you here. This is just Sam and Jimmy hanging out here. And I'm not cool today. I have like wired things hanging down because my AirPods refuse to work, which is why we're a little late. But I see chat room filling up. Good to see you all. And you had mentioned this about your internal systems. Like you were one of the earliest adopters with Blazor. Like you rolled it out like as soon as it was out and ready for production, right?
I think we had it in production like 7 days after it was released.
Wow. Yeah.
So what happened was that I've tried it out just a little bit before, and I just wanted to show my colleagues how cool it can be. So I wanted to see, was it possible to have, our CRM system is really big, and was it possible to just add just a tiny bit of Blazor? Mm-hmm. So I tried that, and I showed my colleague, and he was like, we're using this from now on.
Nice. Yeah, good to have folks who are excited and just ready to adopt. And then that what you said is probably a kind of a good way to kind of take enterprises onto the next or the newer thing. Like, don't just do like all in. Like, do small pieces at a time.
Yeah. Absolutely, and with Blazor server, that is super easy.
Yeah. Let me take a quick detour here, and maybe I'll have Jimmy you weigh in on this. If you don't have a college degree, how successful can you be as a web developer? My 2 cents, you're going to be awesome if you have the appetite to learn. That's all it takes. Jimmy, what are your thoughts?
I totally agree. I'm not entirely sure what level college is right now, but I don't have. So most people in Sweden, we go 9 years. That's the basic school part. Then it's like 3 years with higher education, and then people continue to do. I'm guessing that would be high school, basically.
Kind of, yeah. No, are you talking about like college after that or before that?
So I'm thinking that the original school, then we're going to have high school and then college. Is that how it?
Yeah, that's the same here
so
in the US.
In that case, I don't have a college education.
There you go. And some of the best developers I have worked with, it doesn't take college degree to learn and do what we do. It just takes an appetite to keep on learning and just wanting to dig into cooler technologies. So absolutely.
It's really all about passion. If you have the passion, everything is possible.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, as soon as it gets released, the information is old. So whatever you were learning in college, that is going to be obsolete basically when you start.
Yeah. I don't want to kind of completely like dismiss college degrees. I have one, but it just sets you up as with the fundamentals, as long as you know that what you're learning is probably not what you'll end up using, but it just kind of gives you some of the fundamentals, and then it's up to you how well you want to keep on learning. Yeah. And Lumjack, you're welcome. Tell us a little bit more about, like, you mentioned you don't have a college degree, but how did you get into tech? Is this always what you wanted to do?
I would say yes. So when I was about 7 years old, my brother had a ZX Spectrum. So that's a European computer, a Z80 based computer. And he taught me a thing or two. And when I was about 7, my mom and dad got me my first computer.
Nice.
And I still remember that day. I sat down, I connected everything in, and the first thing I did was 10 print Jimmy, 20 go to 10. I didn't play any games, I didn't try anything else. At that moment, I knew that I wanted to become a developer.
Yeah.
Back then, it wasn't like we have it right now. So back then, if the technology just would have stopped at that point, or the development would stop at that point, I would probably not be a developer today. But at that point, I knew in what direction I would take, and all the things I did from there on was really in some way related to computers or in that direction.
Yeah. We're going to, and I mean, here you are with Blazor on all the latest web dev stuff that you do, and Ed Charbenau is lurking in the chat room. And I don't know, like between Ed and Jimmy, like we might get completely distracted to talk about just Blazor, but there's a world outside of just Blazor. Yes, Swed, Sanderson, I like that. So what Ed is talking about is Steve Sanderson is one of the awesome engineers that Microsoft has, and Blazor was kind of his brainchild to start things off before the rest of the team took on. Yeah, so here you are today. You do, like, aside from work, you also are heavily invested in the developer community. You put on conferences, you speak, and you write. So how did you get started with all of that, and do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. So the path was, well, I went to school, I learned how to code basically. And back in 1999, I got my first job as a developer, ASP,
Nice.
back then.
Mm-hmm.
Interdev, Visual Interdev, and all of that.
I
I'm really
remember.
dating myself.
Yeah, the classic spaghetti code.
Yeah. And from there, it just it was natural for me. I wanted to share information. I became a MVP, Microsoft MVP. Well, that was 8 years ago now, first time. And I really enjoy sharing information, to see that passion, to talk about something, and you see the eyes light up, and oh, you can do that. That's amazing. So one of the first things I did when I became a developer was that I wanted to see if had I learned that much that I could build a ZX Spectrum emulator from scratch. So basically implementing every assembler instructions there is in the Z80 processor. So this was back in when the first Xbox came out. So I wanted to try, was that possible? That was C++. I ported a existing emulator back then. Then with Xbox 360, I rewrote everything in XNA and tried that.
XNA, good old XNA.
I know, right? So I wanted to try that, and well, I succeeded after a while. So that has become my file new, my hello world, if you will. If I find anything new, any new technology, that's the first thing I do. Can I implement my ZX Spectrum emulator in this technology?
Yeah, and you actually done so with Blazor as well, which I will talk about. And Lumjacker here is saying nice things about us, and I don't know if Ed wants anything from me. He's just pampering me, but we shall see. But why don't we go back to maybe Jimmy, you answering a quick question here from the chat room. Where do you see the web going? Are PWAs a thing, or would you roll with native?
Wow, that's a really hard question. So if you would have asked me before Blazor, I would say native. I would say that PWA is not going to be the way to go. in my experience, web apps or PWAs isn't the full experience. They're not good enough, basically. But during the last couple of years, I think I've changed my mind. I think that all of these, when we're talking PWA, we're talking about running inside of the browser, but we're still doing native stuff. So I would say, as Ed says in the chat as well, it depends.
Yeah.
It really depends, and choose whatever technology you feel like you're fluent in. Mm-hmm. If you want to do C#, do C#. Do it with Blazor. If you're a JavaScript developer or anything like that, do it with React Native, or heck, PWA with React, or whatever feels good for you. Yeah. And whatever works for you as well. So let's. I really like gadgets. So one of the first libraries I built was a. I know, right? So one of the first libraries I built was a Bluetooth library for Blazor. Now that works fine for most phones, well, Android phones, and it works for desktop, but it's not going to work for Apple. So again, it depends. If you want to do something like that, you want to use Bluetooth, web Bluetooth, you need to go native. So it all depends on what kind of application, what kind of features you want to have. And now it seems like Sam has frozen. Or he's really, really still. That's kind of cool. So the next thing I'm thinking about building, I haven't started yet, is a... So it's possible to use web USB as well. So we can take web technologies, or USB technologies, and connect the web to that, which is pretty cool. So that's the next thing that I'm thinking about building. Jessica says in the chat, he quit the browser again. Maybe. So when we had Sam on our conference, he actually, it was another conference that Jessica spoke on. He accidentally quit his browser and quit StreamYard as well. So, chat, what do you think about web USB? Would that be interesting to have a web USB library for Blazor as well? I think so. Gadgets again. And maybe I can buy gadgets. More gadgets.
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay, Jimmy?
You look a little bit different than Sam, though. There's something different about you.
Oh, my audio cut out. Hang on a second. Just trying to jump in and help Sam out until he's able to regain his stream. There we go. I should be able to hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So, sorry I picked this up in the middle. I saw Sam get frozen and dropped off, so I thought I'd come in and help out until he can come back.
Awesome.
So how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad at all. So were we still talking about Blazor Hybrid and PWAs?
Well, I went on a rant talking about web USB and web Bluetooth and stuff like that.
Is that something you were doing with Blazor or just JavaScript in general?
I did it with... I made a library for Blazor. It's obviously using JavaScript in the end because we need to use that to communicate with those stuff. But I haven't used it before, but I wanted to try it because, well, gadgets. We can talk to gadgets. I did a talk where I controlled a Bluetooth robot with the web browser using Blazor.
A Bluetooth robot. What does this Bluetooth robot do? Is it like the old school Nintendo playing Gyromite, or what do you have the robot doing?
It's called the RoboSapien, so it can walk around. It has arms that can grip stuff, and it's a really old robot that I got many years ago. I have a a bunch of those actually IR controlled as well as Bluetooth.
Jessica says it can dance.
It can dance. It can burp. It can fart. All those important things.
So 2 of those 3 things you just said I can do, and 1 I cannot. And I'll let you guys judge or guess which one I can't. But anyway. So the library that you wrote, is it specific to the robot, or is it a generic USB library that any of us can plug into our app and connect to something USB through Blazor?
It's generic. So blossom.bluetooth on GitHub. So and on NuGet as well.
And for folks that are new to like the Blazor scene and what that's all about, so Jimmy, you've written some generic JavaScript code that kind of wraps some functionality in that API space. So us .NET devs don't have to write any JavaScript to use the library, right?
Yeah, no JavaScript involved. No JavaScript was hurt making this.
What kind of tools did you use to write that?
Visual Studio mainly. I didn't have an experience with Web Bluetooth, so I wanted to check that technology out. I knew about Bluetooth. I've been using Bluetooth. I've been talking about Bluetooth for many years. But Jessica says that Jimmy has a JavaScript allergy. That is true. I do have an allergy. So I wanted to check that out to see, is it good enough? Can I use it? Well, I could, and it was pretty easy.
Like besides just JavaScript, is there TypeScript involved? Are you doing any unit testing on the JavaScript side? What's the development process like there?
So in this case, I chose to use JavaScript just because when I've developed during the years, I've never really moved up to TypeScript. I've used JavaScript mostly. I did try out TypeScript for some time, but I find that the resources on TypeScript is harder to find than with JavaScript. Mm-hmm. So I decided that, well, I'm just going to go with plain vanilla JavaScript. I'm not going to include anything other than that. I don't have any unit tests. I'm sorry. I don't know. The trick here is that so Web Bluetooth has a lot of security around it. Mm-hmm. So you're not able to just connect to arbitrary Bluetooth device, but the web browser needs to say that the web browser is going to ask you what device do you want to connect to, and you need to approve that connection in the web browser with a completely different UI or a UI provided by the browser. So it's kind of hard to do that unit test that connection. I'm sure it's not impossible, but it's hard.
Yeah, it sounds like you'd need something that kind of mock that behavior so you could write the tests around it. Definitely not an easy thing to bite off. So when you say it prompts you, is this similar to like if you have webcams connected or something, right?
Exactly, the same thing. You can, when you're connecting, you can say that I want a device that has this particular service or characteristic. So Bluetooth is divided. A Bluetooth device has services. Every service can have one or two at least one characteristic or many characteristics, which is basically functions in the device. So you can say that I want a list of all the devices that has this particular service or this particular characteristics or this particular name. So I can filter that experience a little bit at least.
Very cool. I've never used the actual APIs for this, so this is all new stuff for me. What type of capabilities do you have with the browser in USB devices?
USB devices I haven't looked at yet, but I'm assuming that Bluetooth and USB is going to be the same kind
Oh yeah,
of.
sorry, I apologize.
Of
You said Bluetooth, not USB. That was my mistake.
basically whatever you can do with a Bluetooth device, you can do with the browser as well. And I'm assuming that goes for web USB as well.
Yeah, this was something that I stumbled on. I think I saw a tweet or something. Somebody was using web USB, and I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. And then I hear you talk about web Bluetooth, and I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing either. But this sounds really cool. Is there like a limitation to the type of devices that can do this type of thing, or
Not that I know of. If it has Bluetooth low energy, but basically all the devices made in at least near time is going to be Bluetooth LE devices. So all of those should work. And the most fun part is that, I mean, if you buy a Bluetooth robot or whatever you're buying, it doesn't always have an API. So you need to kind of reverse engineer that. And that's the fun part.
might have to hack some things, right? Mm-hmm. Is there like
You
a
should.
community that's online that has, these reverse engineered hacks like kind of shared already, or is this something you have to kind of figure out yourself?
Not that I know
both?
of. I've usually just figured it out myself, and I know that there has been at least now that, I mean, you guys have millions of users, I suspect, but I have like 5 users that has contacted me and said that this was an amazing library and that it really helped them. And being not alone doing these kinds of things with Blazor, I'm thinking that it's going to narrow down the amount of users that's going to use it. I feel positive. I think it's going to be more over time.
Have you written any blog posts or done any videos showing this off?
I have a video from .NET Conf, I believe. No, it was Live Coders.
Okay, the Live
so I
Coders
have
conference.
Yes. So I have a video about that. I don't think I've actually written a blog post about that. What's up with that?
It sounds like something we need.
I'm a bad blogger.
Well, I'm a blogger. I won't say I'm a good blogger, but I'm a blogger. It's about just getting it out there sometimes. I think it'd be an interesting read, definitely.
Yeah, gotta make that happen. And now with the book done, so I actually gonna have more time on my hands.
Did you and Sam talk about the book yet?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I came in a little late, so I didn't quite catch that.
it was just in the beginning. It's done basically.
It's done. How many pages did you end up with? How big is
I
this
don't
book?
know. I think it's a little bit less than 300.
300-page book on getting started with Blazor. Is that
Yeah.
kind of the general sense of it?
Pretty much.
And where do we find the book?
On Amazon,
Amazon.
for example. Yeah. So it's called Web Development with Blazor and .NET 5. I think Jessica added
There
it
we
into
go.
the chat as well.
Jessica's got it.
The
Perfect.
longest URL in the world.
Yeah, I think a lot of us forget that Amazon used to sell books. Like that's that's how they started. They have pretty much everything these days, but yeah, they still carry books. I don't know why I always feel surprised when somebody says, "Oh, it's on Amazon."
Yeah.
So
And
Go
as
ahead.
Jessica had mentioned in the chat as well, so my book has something that no other Blazor book, as far as I know, has. It has raccoons on the cover.
what publisher was this?
Packed.
Pact. Okay. Yeah, I know each of the publishers has kind of like a general theme of their covers. I can't remember what they all
Yeah, and
are.
raccoons was apparently not the what they wanted, but I asked them really, really nice. Can I have raccoons, please? And they said, yes, you
twisted
can
their
have
arm,
raccoons. I'm not going to do it. I want raccoons.
Isn't there? I think it's maybe O'Reilly that's like all birds or something like that. Like each
Yeah,
book
that might
publisher
be
has
true,
kind
yeah.
of their own gimmick.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, are you anticipating Microsoft Build?
Yes, I'm actually haven't checked out the schedule yet. I'm thinking of taking some time to actually watch all the videos. It's really good because it's evening time in Sweden, so I don't have to take much time off from work, or any, I guess.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the virtual conferences is you can kind of fit them in your schedule a little bit easier, and you're traveling from much further away to get to Build than I am, but it's I think it was about a 9-hour trip for me, start to finish. It's about 6 to 8 hours in the air, so it can get to be a long day. And
Yeah.
that's even further of a trip for you. You're definitely going to be jet lagged while you're there. But I also miss having been there,
Yes, we really need to get traveling again. We're talking about doing a conference in Poland in September, I believe. So hopefully we will get the vaccine and everything done by then. But we really need to get out there again. Recording sessions and stuff like that in your home, it's nice, but it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, and it's fun to do this, and we appreciate the Twitch audience. Twitch is probably the best platform, I think, for doing this type of stuff. But you can imagine, as a speaker, for the folks that are in the chat here, picture a stand-up comedian in his closet telling jokes. And if you don't have that feedback of the person in the front row with that aha look on their face, or questions from the audience, the Twitch chat's great for this. It at least fills that gap where you guys can ask us questions and things. But without that energy there, it's a different type of scenario. So getting back in person is something I'm looking forward to. I hope we can do it safely and soon.
Yeah. Have you been vaccinated?
I have. I've gotten both vaccines. We started doing some more social things, and I immediately got a head cold, which I'm trying to recover from now. So, just I guess if that is the feeling of normal, that is the most normal thing that has happened to me in a year. I think we're all familiar with the good old-fashioned head cold.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to getting my shots, but I think I might be in the next batch, I think, so I'll need to wait a little bit longer. I'm really amazed by the speed that that you in US has gotten the vaccine. That's impressive.
We were due for some positive news. Let's just say that we had a pretty rough winter, and then things started to turn around with the new year, and the organization of that rollout got better. I don't know if it's a change in administration or what you want to credit it to, but it's definitely picked up in a positive direction. Yeah. So we're starting to feel a little bit more fortunate. It's looking pretty rough there for a little while. So. Yeah, hopefully, other countries have that same sort of feeling soon, where things start to get more organized and pick up with vaccine rollouts and getting back to normal and that sort of thing. Definitely looking forward to it. The kids are looking, forward to getting back into school, believe it or not. Yeah, they want to complain about school a lot until you take it away for a year, and then they start to wish that it was there, which is kind of a strange feeling, being an adult and not having to have experienced that, right?
Yeah.
So how are things going with you and Jessica? What are you both working on next? What's the next big thing for you?
Oh, the next thing. So I've been writing my book for like a year now or something like that. At least it feels like that. So I'm really happy to be done. So I have like a million projects that just piling up. But I'm gonna take care of. We need a new homepage for our podcast and stream and stuff like that. So I'm thinking now doing that site on stream.
Very nice.
Uh,
What tech platforms are you looking into for that?
so I'm gonna use React. No, I'm gonna use Blazor, of course.
Interesting.
I'm
Okay.
not sure about if I'm gonna go WebAssembly or server though. So I'll have to see.
That's the thing
What
that
would you recommend?
I always find interesting about blogs. There's really just a lot of good tech out there for blogging, and
Yeah.
every time I try to use something outside the blogging universe, I always feel like I'm reinventing the wheel. So there's good old fashioned like things like WordPress and that's PHP. So if you want to do anything really unique, then you have to kind of learn PHP. And that I
Yeah.
know PHP, but it's kind of old hat these days. There's still a lot of great PHP sites. I'm not bashing it. It's a great platform. But then there's Jekyll. You got the whole static site generation stuff. I think those work really well depending on the size of the blog that you're building. It sounds like yours is probably a small to average size type of a blog if you're hosting like podcast posts and things.
Yeah.
So static site generators probably is a good thing to look at. I would like to see a good static site generator built off of Razor and .NET. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one personally yet. I'm not saying one doesn't exist, but I haven't seen one yet that's caught my eye. So there's lots of good options out there. I'd be interested to see what your take is on it.
Yeah. So for my blog, I'm running Jekyll, and for the podcast site, we're using WordPress. So we tried them both, and I think that they're unnecessarily complex. I think
That makes perfect sense.
It could be easier to do what we want to do.
Yeah, I've always found that to be the problem with these type of things. I don't know if it's that these things start off with too much abstraction in mind. Maybe they try to be like the hammer of all nails. So WordPress. Gosh, has that thing evolved into just an absolute monster of jack of all trades type of a tool,
Yeah.
right? It started off with you put your post in and it displays on the page to now it's like this massive content management plugin capable thing, which is great unless you're, one of the, low end users of those capabilities. And when I say low end user, it doesn't mean like your content's not as important or you're a beginner at whatever this thing is that you're doing. It's just sometimes you need simple, right?
Yeah.
It could be a very important project, but you just need simple.
It's way too complex.
Yeah. So I use WordPress or not WordPress. I use Jekyll for my personal blog, and it works just because I don't do anything more than post a blog post every now and then, and it's already up and running. The biggest headache is when I have to repave a machine and I can't remember what all the install commands are.
Yeah.
So you might live stream this endeavor, huh?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. So I think it could be kind of a fun project because I want to integrate like YouTube. I want to grab all the old streams. I want to have Twitch in there. I want RSS feeds for, excuse me, for the podcast files and everything. So I think it could be a fun project to work on.
It does. So you'd stream that on your Twitch channel?
Yes. So it's called Coding After Work.
So Coding After Work, folks, if you pull that up and hit follow there, you'll get notified when Jimmy and Jessica go live. Jessica streams with you on that as well, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a great show. I think I've been a guest at least once.
Yeah, on the podcast, yes. On the stream, we still need to figure that one out.
The how to have a guest or how to get me?
No, to get you.
Oh, okay. We can talk after the show. We can work something out. So you're gonna build a blog. You've got a conference coming up in the fall in Poland. Any other big news?
I don't know. We as Sam hinted in the beginning, we just got our first car, an electric one, a Polestar, so a Swedish car. So I'm gonna take some time to figure out how to make apps for that as well.
Nice. So I'm not familiar with that brand. That is a local brand from Sweden?
Nah, it's all around the world. It's actually Volvo. Let me see if I got all the research in my head right now. So Jessica is the one that done all the research, has all the information in her head. So Polestar is Volvo's racing brand.
Oh,
and
nice.
they just started to make electric cars.
Gotcha.
So it's a really nice car. If you look it up and you see like comparison, they always compare with Tesla. So it's a really nice one, and it has Android Automotive in the car. So it's basically Android development for the car.
That area of the world in general has wonderful design. So I haven't seen the car, but I can imagine,
It's really nice.
My expectations are high. Let's just say that.
So I was all in Tesla. I don't want to hear about anything else. I want a Tesla. And Jessica was talking about a little bit of different models, and she was basically talking about everything that was not Tesla. Mm-hmm. And then we just we should try the Polestar. It wasn't really on our radar at all. We just let's just check it out. It's a Polestar 2, and we did, and we both fell in love with it. It's the Volvo quality with the Tesla design, if you will. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I Googled it as you were talking here. Let me see if I can share what I grabbed on screen. So this is the vehicle you're talking about? So yes. You said this is the first vehicle you've ever owned.
Yeah, so Jessica just got her license. I don't have one. So she got her license in like January or something like that. So this is our first car.
Yeah, so folks that are from the U.S., this might sound a little strange because a lot of us, it's like we feel like it's kind of some rite of passage at 16 to get a driver's license because cars are pretty much required here. But from the short trip that I took to Sweden, you all use a lot of bicycle travel and other means of just getting around with. You have a lot of public transit that's very useful, which we just are really bad at here in the States. So it's not as uncommon where you are to get a car later in life if ever.
Yeah. So for example, in my case, if I would to take the car to work, that would be insanely expensive because parking in the city center is, it's going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a gorgeous car. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. So we got it in the color Thunder. So it's basically the color of the screen, the color of the sky when it's thundering.
It's like a steel blue type of color.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. It's a
Very
little
nice.
bit grayish, blue grayish.
So you said you can write apps for this thing?
Yeah. So it has an Android Automotive. So that's a
Oh, okay.
different branch of Android. So you need to go. You need to do it through a special store. They only admit certain types of apps and stuff like that. So it's not going to have all the Android apps in the world. They are particularly written for this platform.
Nice. So you would use what is it? Is the Android platform still pretty much Java, or does it run
Java and
Dart
Kotlin,
these
I
days?
guess.
Kotlin.
So, but from my perspective, so the question that I have: am I going to use Xamarin, Maui, or Blazor mobile bindings?
Oh, very cool. I didn't even think about that route.
And I think that part of the developer community is I haven't seen anyone do that. I don't know if it's because it can't be done or because there's not a lot of developers having these kinds of cars. But hey, let's do that on stream as well.
I mean, you are Swede Sanderson, so
That's true.
why not Blazorify your car? I mean, yeah, that would be really
Why
cool
not?
to see on stream.
The only thing
Just don't code and drive. That I heard that's a big thing.
So the car has a lot of safety features, obviously, but one of the features that kind of annoys me is that I, in the passenger seat, can't be doing stuff on the screen. I can't go into the store, for example.
Okay.
You can't use the store while driving, but Jessica's concentrating on the road. I want to press buttons here. And the only thing that I was actually a little bit annoyed about is that the car doesn't have a web browser at this point. So I couldn't check if it was working with Blazor WebAssembly.
Ah, okay.
So I don't
you-
know when yet
You can only run native Android applications at this point.
at this point. But it's still very, very early. So there's a lot of feature coming. There was a lot of announcements on Google I/O coming for automotive as well.
So is this something like you add as like a Android virtual device to your desktop? Kinda like
I
a
have
phone
to use
emulator?
a simulator. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a simulator. The first thing I did, we went to a Polestar showroom, and we sat in the car just checking it out. And the first thing I did was tapping the version number 8 times. So if you have an Android, that would unlock the developer features.
There you
And
go.
sadly, the car has it was like, oh, 4 taps more and you will unlock the developer mode, 3 taps more and you will unlock, oh it's working, but the last tap is going to say, sorry, it's not enabled for cars. So you have to develop everything in the simulator. Nothing you can't deploy to the car at least at this point. And I understand why they have that limitation. So I guess they're not going to do it anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, they probably don't want you unlocking software in the car.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, and this is probably going to date me now. They used to have the marquees on like Windows 3.1 facing the inside of the mall. And there was a store called McDuff's, and it had like a dozen computers in the front of the store facing the people walking by. And I think it just scrolled like McDuff's across the marquee. And security wasn't much of a thing back then. So you'd press the button, and it would say enter a password to get off of the screensaver. So I pressed Control Alt Delete, rebooted the computer, went in and changed all the screensavers to McDuff sucks. And they stayed that way for a good couple hours until somebody figured it out. But car showroom, probably not a good place to pull pranks like that. So it's better with a little bit of security on top.
I guess so. but it would have been fun.
Yeah, it's always a good little troll. Yeah. So, Sam Sam did ping me, by the way. Speaking of trolling, Sam pinged me and he said he lost power. Is why he got cut off. So his neighborhood is out. I don't know if they're having storms or if it's just sometimes we have car wrecks that do that in at least in our area because we have some above ground wiring in this part of the states.
Right.
So a car takes down one of those poles in an accident and we lose power for a subdivision or two. So any number of things could happen. He's out of power for now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be back at least with some power today. So sorry about the interruptions in the interview here, and I'm glad I just happened to be watching and was able to jump in and chat with a good old friend anyway.
Thanks for saving it.
No problem. So we can find you and Jessica on your show on Twitch. You have the podcast as well, a new ebook. Is there an easy way to find you and find all of these great resources you have?
Well, Engstrom Jimmy on Twitter, and as you mentioned, Coding After Work on Twitch. And we actually have another one called Married Geeks as well, where we build some Legos. So if you enjoyed Legos, please check that out as well.
Excellent. And I wish you the best of luck on the vaccine, and congratulations again on the car. I know that's like a huge deal. I bet you're super excited.
Yeah.
And not only to do some dev on it, but just to use it and enjoy the experience of owning the car. So congratulations again on that. And I will follow up with you on being part of one of your many shows sometime.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I know Alyssa will be back here in a couple hours to do UI Fridays, if she has any steam left from the huge release week that we had here at Telerik. I know we did I did 5 hours of streaming just yesterday, and I'm about gassed. So my show I'm not doing today on my channel. This will be it for me. But I just want to thank you all, and thank you again, Jimmy. It'll be nice to see you again in person soon.
Thanks.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.